was 8 years old the first time I entered the secret garden, sometimes through a book I read by myself, and sometimes through a cassette tape my parents played on loop. Actually, this was wrong. I wasn't 8 years old. I was younger, a lot younger. I think I might have been 4 or 5 the first time I heard The Secret Garden on cassette tape. And then later, it was a Hallmark Hall of Fame movie that was recorded on a VHS tape, commercials and all. We were living in New Orleans, Louisiana at the time, and I can still feel the air of that house when I think of it. Then came the 1993 version, the one that felt like it lived in my bones. But here's the truth. This story wasn't just about a garden. It was about grief, curiosity, reawakening, and for me, it still is. Welcome back to the Master Narrative series here on the Nostalgic Neurodivergent. I'm your host, Corey, late diagnosed ODHD mom, and today we are diving into The Secret Garden. So Mary Lennox was sent away, unwanted, unattached, and incredibly guarded. And while she could be cold and distant on the outside, underneath she was aching. With no map for how to feel, no safety to explore, and no invitation to come alive. For many neurodivergent kids, especially those who experience loss, emotional neglect, or just couldn't explain what they were feeling, Mary wasn't just a character. She was a mirror. She wasn't broken, she was disconnected, and her curiosity was the thread that pulled her back to life. There's something about that moment that she finds the key. That door. The way the world shifts from gray to green. That's how it felt learning about my own neurodivergence. Not as a diagnosis, but as a reawakening. All those parts of me I thought were too sensitive, too much, or too weird. They were just dormant, like seeds under frost, waiting. And the garden? That place we're told is wild and chaotic and unkempt. It's actually pretty sacred. I always loved Dickon the most. His connection to animals, his quiet wisdom, his gentleness, and his untamed spirit. He didn't try to fix Mary. He invited her into his world and into aliveness. And we all need someone like that. Someone who sees our edges and doesn't flinch. You don't have to be fully healed to be worthy of wonder. You don't have to get over the past to move forward. Grief and growth can live side by side, like roses and thorns, locked doors and keys. Curiosity isn't immaturity, it's recovery. And when you start following what draws you in, not to perform, but to feel, you start to remember who you were before the shutdowns, before the silence, and before you put on the mask. And that, my friend, is the real magic. The garden doesn't make you perfect, but it reminds you that you are alive. So what part of you is starting to bloom again? What curiosity are you following? And what grief are you finally naming? You don't have to unlock or unpack everything today. Just find your key and crack the door. I'll meet you there.